Hello there, my crowdfunding family. Lynn Hawkins here, and I am back. This is video number 3, the 4 Fs of crowdfunding. And we talked about all of the 4 Fs, from foundation to fundraise to follow-up, and we talked a little bit about fulfillment in the last video. If you haven't been able to check out the first 2 videos, please take a bit of time to do that. Packed with great information, and my heart's desire is to make sure that you know that crowdfunding for small business is here for us now. Now is the time. We talked about the numbers. They've actually projected it's over $60 billion in crowdfunding being available in funds transferring in 2016. It's not over yet. So we're talking about positioning yourself to be in front of how that money is transferring, and there's a formula for it. There's a strategy to be built around your opportunity to raise funds through crowdfunding, and that's what I would love to help you to understand, to implement, to execute, and to receive. So now make sure that you've downloaded your workbook, your 4FsTraining workbook, and hurry up because now we're into the last video segment. We were talking about fulfillment, the 4th F of the 4 Fs of crowdfunding. And, you know, there's a strategy that when your campaign is over, or there's a thinking, and it's a myth, when your campaign is over, it's over. Actually, that's not the end. When your campaign is over, your last day, you close the door to receiving money in the way that you have set yourself out there to do, that's when the next segment of the campaigning begins. There may be some sponsorship dollars or some promised dollars, committed dollars that haven't come into you yet. Follow up. That's where you get those funds in. And maybe you are ready for button up. And I have a specific system for button up process at the end of your campaign, where you go through and check each of the systems that you employed, from social media to follow-up phone calls, from pre-launch all the way through the campaign, and debrief. When it's time to debrief, you and the team get together, and your debrief talks about the dollars that you've raised, the people that you're now able to impact, the things that you are able to do because of what you applied to this crowdfunding campaign, and the things that you will be able to see happen for you, for your business, and for the people that you serve. That's just, the end is only the beginning. Because guess what? If you were successful doing this in a month, 2 months, 3 months, design another strategy to fill another need, determining the why beyond the why you're doing this campaign, who's it going to benefit, do it again. Once you get one successful campaign under your belt, you basically have the formula in place. You've run through it. Maybe you've even seen some things like you could benefit from having a bigger team. One of the things that Positive Impact Makers has recently done is added a team so that we can support those who are crowdfunding in getting their marketing and promotional messages out there. Your message is key. One of the things that I love doing as part of the boot camp is helping people to really come up with their messaging. The name, to the short blurb, to understanding and having something to practice that articulates your why this campaign is so important to you. Making your videos and doing it in a way that is very cost effective. You can make it yourself. You can take it to a third party and have them edit it. We provide that kind of service as well. And really, our goal is to help you to create and implement the best campaign possible. We believe that we have the system that can do that for you. We've created checklists. We've created a workbook for the entire process. We've created forms that you can populate so that when you do select your platform, it's easy to copy and paste your information on there. You know the links to your videos. Everything is in place for you. And this is how we support you in getting you to the next stage. And your team, we teach you how to engage with your team so that they can support you emotionally and physically, and they can provide you with greater access into the networks that you're trying to reach into. And one of the things that we do too is if you don't have a team, then we help you to create a team, either using, we've got certain packages that we provide that are team related. And depending on what your need is, you can definitely tap into the resources that we've put together for that. But there's one other key thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of, because I get a lot of questions around, well, what's the best platform for us? And I'll tell you, there's platforms that cater to artists. There's platforms that cater to entertainers. There's platform, and I'm specifically speaking artists, painters, and sculptors. And then there's entertainers, and then there's writers. There's business is included in some of these campaigns, but there are very few that are specifically business related. When you get into the fourth type of crowdfunding, which is equity crowdfunding, that's when you find the specifics for business related crowdfunding. And the key thing where all of that is concerned is the platform. Well, how do I know what's the best platform? There are a lot of really cute ones out there. There are a lot that have been out there for a while, that have some history behind them. Well, let me tell you, technology is the key. The platform that you select should meet your criteria for what type of campaign that you're doing, whether it's donor-based only. There's crowdfunding campaigns that are donor-based only. There's campaign platforms that are donor-based and rewards-based. There's some that are strictly rewards-based. There's some that, equity crowdfunding and debt lender crowdfunding is a whole nother element. And during the boot camp, we go into a little bit of that, because that may be second or third stage growth type of opportunities. And they're really great opportunities, especially equity crowdfunding, because just to give you a hint, you decide how much equity you're going to allow your crowdfunding network to invest in. They become investors. They get shares or subscriptions for their investments. You get to utilize the funds. But there are some nuances to that. There's some SEC requirements. There's some reporting requirements. It's expensive, which is why it becomes second and third tier growth strategies to tap into this money. But that money is there. And I remember reading a story in Entrepreneur magazine, I believe it was, and there was a gentleman. It was actually a link. I put a little blurb in there in my last newsletter about it. And the guy was crowdfunding to raise funds to produce his first amazing little jacket for cold weather. It had pockets in it for your cell phone and your charger. It had a built-in charger. There was the water bottle, the this and the that. You could put the laptop and the phone and the tablet and all this stuff in this jacket. And he crowdfunded to raise enough money to go through his first level of production. With that level of production, he was so successful that he decided to go through it again for a second and a third level of production. So let me just give you some context here. He started out with a $200,000 raise, first round raise, raised it, went into production. He even had some production glitches that he overcame by communicating with his donors. And in those communications, his donors were very understanding and they hung in there with him. Again, he was successful in getting his production line complete. All of the donors got their stuff. He ended up doing a second round, and because of that and how successful he was with that, after 3 rounds of crowdfunding, he has raised over $11.5 million and is now embarking on a new fundraising raise with a new product. And, you know, they interviewed him, and one of the things that he said, the question was, why not go to equity crowdfunding, or why not go to a lender or VC? You know, you're a startup. Why not go to venture capital or angel investors for your funding sources? And he said, you know, there are just some requirements that I did not want to have attached to my business, meaning he didn't want to give up any equity in his business or have others on the outside looking at what he was doing with that critical eye and the ability to say, I'd like for you to do it this way. And he didn't have that. And it was a great place for him to be and to move. And the success that he ended up garnering was because of the team. So back to the platforms, he also had the right platform that he needed in order to be successful. And so there's 4 types of platforms I want to make you aware of, because in today's market, there's over 1,200 different platforms. The ones that started out in 2010, that, you know, 2011 and 2012, they've been through the cycle and have learned some things and have grown. And some are even doing things differently. For instance, when these crowdfunding platforms came about, you could only crowdfund to raise, and you could only get your money when your goal was met. You either met or surpassed your goal, then you could get your money. Otherwise, all the money was refunded to the donors. Today, it's a little different. You still have some of those. Even Kickstarter, one of the first platforms to the market, still does that. If you do not raise the total amount of funds that your goal, if you don't get pledges to meet that goal or surpass that goal by your deadline, you don't get any of the funds. And there are some newer platforms that have that in place as well. Most platforms have an option or are all out. Whatever you raise, you can get. There's a catch, though. Most say that if you don't raise your goal, we're just going to charge you a higher fee. And I'm like, okay, that's, I won't even get into that, but I think you have an idea where I was going with that. So first type of platform, now that we've gotten through a little bit of that history, the first type of platform is goal-oriented. You meet your goal and you get your money. That's your Kickstarter. Indiegogo has that option. GoFundMe has that option. Both of them also have the option to, second type, raise and receive. Even if you don't meet your goal, you have the option or the ability to receive the funds that you did raise. Now, all of these crowdfunding platforms require that you close out your campaign, meaning no more dollars can be received into the actual campaign on the platform. You can receive funds directly afterwards. Uh, when that happens, that's when you get your funding. Indiegogo has recently added an option, I forget what they call it, but you can select that and you can continue fundraising after your goal deadline. And there's some stipulations to that, but that's working. That's a great addition that they made to their platform. And there's the third type of platform. It's called subscription-based. And subscription-based platforms basically charge you a monthly fee. And there are most of the few subscription-based platforms out there also charge you a fee on the funds that you raise. They also, all of the platforms have you have a cost of transferring funds to yourself. So the merchant fees are there. But there are some subscription-based platforms where there's no deadlines, no penalties for not reaching your goal. There's even, you could continue your single crowdfunding campaign for a year or however long you wanted to have it out there. Now, what I teach is that there's some advantages to that, and there are some disadvantages to that as well. So let's talk about the fourth type of platform that has recently come on the scene, and that is a revenue share platform. This is a platform, it's a crowdfunding platform, it's subscription-based, so you pay a nominal monthly fee, and going back to the subscription-based platforms, I've seen subscriptions from as little as $149 a month to $1,200 a month that you pay because you actually are out on this platform and supposedly investors are looking at your campaign as well. Investors are a part of this audience who are looking at your campaign and the potential of your campaign to donate all or a portion of your goal amount. And depending on the platform, there's some real value to that subscription cost. Now, the revenue share platform that I was mentioning is really in this space of disruptive. Donor-based only right now, but very disruptive because this is the only crowdfunding platform that calls itself a social network where the company actually contributes to funding your crowdfunding campaign. So you can crowdfund and raise your funds for your donor-based campaign. You get 100% of those funds. You pay your subscription amount of $149, but there's this other piece called revenue share that the company actually pays you a portion of the funds that they get from these subscriptions, and they donate that back to you. You can put it into your campaign, you can use it as revenue. And one of the things that I'm really, really in tune with now is a lot of nonprofits and for-profits have never considered the idea of creating residual continual income for themselves, for participating in something that they can benefit from in the way of crowdfunding, because you've got a crowdfunding opportunity as well as the revenue share, or just to participate in the revenue share. So I'm sure you're asking, so Lynn, how does this revenue share thing work? Well, for this particular platform, and many of you have heard me call the name of Smash Fund, your subscription gets paid into the company and it opens up the membership portal to you. You can crowdfund or you can just participate in revenue share. For me, it's a no-brainer. Crowdfund and participate in the revenue share. Create that continual residual income coming to you because of your participation in the revenue share portion. And a lot of nonprofits, for-profits look at, how do I keep revenue coming into my business? Well, I'm doing another crowdfunding campaign, I'm doing another gala, or another fundraising dinner or luncheon, or whatever the next thing is. And I am not creating an opportunity for the people who are supporting me to support me in a higher level, which is a smaller amount, but being contributed on a consistent basis. I'm teaching that to a few nonprofits now, how to structure something like that. We on the for-profit side see that being built in memberships, membership platforms. And here we have an opportunity to receive some of that income from revenue share in a platform that has members that are contributing the same $149 a month as you. So, but how do I get paid? How does that amount that I get determined? It's pretty easy, because you're out there, you're doing your thing. And just like you'd recommend a good restaurant, if you know somebody who's looking for this kind of revenue coming into their business, you can talk to them about it and refer them into it. It's an invitation only type thing. Invite them in, they get in, and it's working for them, whether it's direct connections or viral connections, and that's indirect connections. They're earning revenue. So let me tell you about that. The company has set up a system for paying you a certain amount on a direct referral, $50 a month on a direct referral, and $4 a month on an indirect referral. You can have connections. Those referrals turn into connections. You can have those connections up to a 16,000 level. So you can have 16,000 connections that maybe, 15,000 are indirect or viral connections, and 1,000 of them are direct connections. That amounts to a good amount of monthly income coming in. And one of the things that I like to remind people is that there are people that are getting into something like this just because it's a revenue opportunity, and they can refer people to it who are interested in crowdfunding, or people who are interested in the revenue opportunity by referring people in. The big thing is that it's the opportunity for me, because I'm so passionate about helping people to fund their cause, their need, their business, their nonprofit. The crowdfunding piece is so important, because you have crowdfunding investors. Those who are participating in revenue share, that are getting income that's like gravy income, are looking at campaigns that are out there and saying, my gosh, what can I contribute to? And that will be happening even more as time goes on, as more people become part of the platform, as more messages of need and of business focus are put out there. So I invite you to join me in the Crowdfunding Success Blueprint Bootcamp, and join me in our Facebook group. You can find me, go to Facebook and search for Dream It, Fund It, the Crowdfunding Success Blueprint Bootcamp. You can do hashtag Crowdfunding Works. You can do hashtag P3ASE for the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship. Or you can do hashtag Positive Impact Makers, and you will find us. We're the crowdfunding and business acceleration group out in out in Facebook. And our goal is to help you to do a crowdfunding campaign that's successful, to raise the funds for your passion, your purpose, your mission, your vision, your business, or your nonprofit. And even, if it fits, also become a part of the revenue share. And if you're interested in more about that, or know somebody who might be interested, my information is in the workbook. You can find me on Facebook, just Lynn Hawkins. And I am just so grateful that you spent this time with me. We're going to jump off here now because I want to also point to the Facebook connection. Put your comments in there. Did you get any good information from what I shared? I'd love your feedback. I'd love to know your questions. If I didn't get that information out in this video series, I'd love to answer any additional questions you might have. You can also find us at positiveimpactmakers.org, O-R-G, and you can find out information about crowdfunding and the Crowdfunding Success Blueprint Bootcamp. The information is out there as well. So thank you once again. You've just been in a 3-part video series of the 4 Fs of crowdfunding. It's part of my signature program of the Crowdfunding Success Blueprint and the Crowdfunding Success Blueprint Bootcamp. I'm Lynn Hawkins. I'm a co-CEO of Positive Impact Makers, CEO of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, and I'm so excited. I will look forward to connecting with you further and seeing you as a part of the boot camp. I'm sure that there is a level of entry that meets your needs, your interests, and your bank account. So join me, join us, and I will see you on the other side. Thanks, and bye for now.